Hi guys, welcome to this unique online FCE course. We are so happy that you've chosen Newson's Place for your FCE preparation. Now, we're going to go through this huge list on the board to explain what you're going to get during this course. So let's have a look at the very first point. Why is this FCE course so unique? Well, it is unique because there is nothing else like it in the world. Yes, you can go to a language school and have some FCE preparation face-to-face, or there might be some kind of online courses to help practice parts of the exam. But what we have done, we have put an entire course together for you to study with lots of videos on language, grammar, all the parts of the exam, how to perfect them. Also, there's online practice for you to do with parts of the exam, vocabulary, grammar, real sources that we provide as well to make sure that you read your articles, you watch some TV shows to really get your English to that kind of B2 level, because we want you to get an A. We absolutely insist. So you will not find a course anywhere that provides as much information as this, all across the board. In fact, we have provided much more information than you actually need. So because we really want to make sure that you get that best mark possible. So what can the FCE actually get you? Well, first of all, it is a very good stepping stone to C1 level, to, for example, CAE and later CPE. And by having the B2, it really shows schools that you know English very well. It's a very, very high level of English. Also, for example, if we were flying to England together and I pushed you out of an aeroplane and said, survive without me, use your English, you could, no problem. You could get a job, you could make friends, you could communicate in many different areas of English about business, work, education, travel and tourism. The level is really, really good. It is very, very good. I wish my Russian was a B2 level, because at the moment I actually live and work here in Russia, in Moscow, as an Englishman. So again, if you went into a job to an HR department, you hand them your Cambridge certificate, they know your English is good. And so I really love the FCE course. I really, really do. So let's actually have a look at the course itself. What are you going to get? Well, how long does the course last? Well, the first thing I would like to mention is that when you apply for this course, and you get access forever. You have as much access as you want to the videos, to the online material. It's something you can watch again and again and again. You can do it in 6 months, you could do it in 6 years if you wanted. And we're very proud to offer this to give you permanent access. But we have two types of this. The first one is doing the FCE with speaking and writing. So if you choose to do the speaking and writing, the course lasts about 6 months, and that's enough time to perfect the speaking and to perfect the writing. It really is. We know, we've tested this with CAE and CPE as well, because we do the same courses. Or if, for example, you just need the information, you can actually just apply for the videos and the online test pad practice, where you do all the vocabulary and grammar exercises and things like that. So if you do want to do the speaking and writing, it is like a 6-month period. And at the end of the 6 months, there's no more speaking and writing. And then you can just continue to watch the videos as often as you would like. So we're very happy to offer this program. What's in the videos? Well, first of all, you get a lot of model answers. So I will do lots of exercises on the board. I will give you lots of vocabulary, as well as showing you things on the computer as well. So it's a nice mix of language. You'll get so much. When I talk about model answers, what I mean by this is that if we were talking about, let's just say, travel and tourism, one of the questions in the book might be, what kind of holidays do you prefer? Now, someone without FCE preparation might say, I like to go and sit on the beach. It's nice. I like to relax. Well, the English is correct, but it's not really B2. I will give you such answers like, I spend the whole year working so much, and I like nothing more than spending 2 weeks on the beach, soaking up the sun, engrossing myself in a good book, basically doing nothing, because I want to escape from my job because it kills my brain. I mean, if you said that in the exam, that's an A. That's an absolute A. And I'm going to give you so many model answers like this. So you can take my model answers and transplant them into the speaking and your writing. So when you go into the exam, you have a big database of language in your head, and it just is very easy for you to complete. We also have lots of tactics. Now, when I talk about tactics, you have very strict time limits in the exam to complete the use of English in the reading, to complete the writing, and also the listening and the speaking as well. And some students get confused, they get lost, or they don't finish tasks on time. And so my tactics have been tested for many, many, many years. They're extremely successful and they really do work, like paraphrasing the reading texts. And you're able to get everything done properly with the correct answers and within the time limits. So I'm going to teach you to do that, and I will repeat those tactics throughout the whole course, like sort of propaganda, like brainwashing, to make you not even think about them when you're doing the exam, because it becomes so natural for you. And of course, lots of language, grammar, vocabulary, showing you how things work. I will teach you idioms. I will teach you chunks of language. I will tell you what's formal, informal, what you don't need, what you do need, and things like that. As for the speaking, of course, we have speaking sessions every 2 weeks for 6 months. So it's like 12 speaking sessions where you are put into small groups and you have face-to-face interaction with a teacher who will teach you how to be imaginative, how to be creative, all the important tactics that you need to know to complete the speaking test successfully with some really, really good English. As for the writing, every unit you will be taught how to write a type of essay, and there are many different types as you will find during the course. I will show you some bad examples of essays and some good examples, so you have something to follow. I will teach you the kind of language that you need, and then when you're happy that you've planned, you send your essay to us. We will mark your essays, give you detailed corrections, detailed feedback, and send your essays back to you, where you will keep your essays in a nice pile somewhere that you can read again and again and memorize by heart all of that language, so you can transplant that into your exam. So let's have a look at this. What does the FCE course look like? Is it hard? Well, if you practice enough, it's not hard. It's really not. Yes, you need to learn a lot of English, a lot of vocabulary, a lot of grammar and tactics, but practice makes perfect. So the more practice you do, the easier it becomes. But let's actually have a look at what is in the FCE course itself. Now, this is the book that we're going to use. Now, during the videos, each unit that we provide you covers one unit of this book. So Unit 1 covers all of Unit 1, obviously. Now, there are 14 units in this book, but we go up to 10 because the book is sometimes a bit simple compared to what you get in the exam. So we have structured this in a very particular way, that in the first, throughout the 10 units, we do the course book. But when you do the extra material online to support this, after the first 4 units, we used some different books. So the tests get harder and harder and harder, like you would find in the real exam. So by the time you do units 11 and 12, they're basically just practice tests, because the day of the exam is very, very intensive. It's very intensive. And we want to make sure that you are ready for this, because if you just practice a bit of reading here, a bit of listening there, it's good. But on the day of the exam, you have to wake up early, get to the exam center, you have to do your use of English and reading in 75 minutes, 10-minute break, then you do your 80 minutes of essay writing, 2 essays, 10-minute break, then you have to do 45 minutes of listening, and if you have some bad luck, you have to do the speaking on the same day, but usually the speaking is different days. So it's a very intensive day, and we prepare you for this. So the course gets harder and harder and harder as it goes along, so we prepare you for this. But let's actually have a look at the type of tasks that you need to perfect. I'll put the course book back here. It's probably going to fall off. Now, this is one of the books you're going to be using later in the course because some of the exercises are a bit more difficult. So let's actually go to sort of a random test. Okay, test 5, for example. Now, in the use of English, there are 4 different types of tests. The first one, part 1, if you can see this, you've got a text like this, and you've got 8 multiple choice options like A, B, C, D. So you've got, say, 8 questions, 4 multiple choice options. You need to choose the right one. And it's not that difficult. And again, you need to know your English. Part 2, again, you've got a small text and you need to insert these little grammatical words like prepositions, maybe articles, maybe words like so, such, or few, or more, or less, however, or whereas, things like that. Now, the part 3 is where, again, you have like a small text like this. you have these words in bold, and you need to transform this word into a different type of word. So for example, if we have the word power, we could have powerful, we could have powerless, we could have powers. We have the word like know, it could be known, unknown, knowledge, knowledgeable. So we have to sort of change the form of the word. Part 4, now this is the part that scares many students, because you actually get a sort of sentence to begin with. You get like a word in bold, like here it says off. And you have to sort of write the second sentence using the word given by taking some, other words. So the meaning of the second sentence is almost the same as the first one. It's very, very difficult, but I'll teach you how to do this very easily. And that's the use of English. Then we come to the reading. So you have like quite a big text. It's quite big, as you can see, and 6 multiple choice options. So that's like the part 5. And what I like about this is that the question comes in the same order as the text. Part 6 is where you get a text like this. And as you can see, we have some sentences here that have been taken out, and you need to put them into the correct order. Some students find this one quite difficult because it's really about context. It really, really is. But again, I'll teach you how to do this. And then we have the part 7, where you can have 4 or maybe 5, sometimes 6 small paragraphs. You have 10 statements, and you have to basically say which statement corresponds to which paragraph. Now, I'm going to give you the very first tactic that I teach when I do the reading tasks with my students. Interestingly enough, we actually, in the exam, start with this one, then we proceed to this one, and we finish the reading with this one. And I will explain in the course why we do that. It's very interesting. So once you've done the use of English and reading, in 75 minutes, you have in the exam like 10, 15-minute break, and then you come to the writing. And in the writing, you have 2 essays to do. So you get like a part 1 essay like this, and it looks like this in the exam. And I'll explain during the course in more detail what you need to do. And you have to write this. You have no choice with regards to the theme. And then you have the second essay to write, and you actually have a choice of different styles: the article, the letter, the report, the story. And I will teach you how to write in different styles for those types of essays. And you have a total of 80 minutes to do this. So it's 40 minutes per essay. So we need to be quick. And I'll teach you how to plan and how to check your work so you can give the examiner a really well-written piece of English. So again, you have 10 minutes or 15 minutes break after doing that. And then we come to the listening. So the listening, you get part 1. Now, part 1, you've got like 8 different extracts. Here, you got 3 multiple choice options for each question. Now, the thing with the listening, which is very difficult, is they try to confuse you. So they try to sort of mention a lot of the vocabulary in ABC to kind of guide you to the wrong answer. But you need to listen very carefully, like a sort of game of tennis, because you listen for the words like but then, it's like, not that one, not that one, that one. And that's how we do it. Then we come to the listening part 2, where you get sort of like a text like this, and we need to insert the words that we hear in the audio script. And it's usually between like 1 and sort of 3 words, or like a short phrase or something like this. I find this one to be one of the easier parts of listenings, to be honest. Once we've done that, we come to the listening part 3, where you have 5 sort of short extracts based on a particular theme. So 5 different speakers, and we have 8 options, and we need to choose the right one that we hear. This one can be quite difficult because they never say the words that are written here, so you need to know synonyms and things like that. When we come to the last listening, now this is the same listening that you get in CAE and CPE. It's in the form of a kind of interview. And so it's like one long sort of audio text. And it can be quite confusing. It's quite a hard one to do. But again, I have some very, very good strategies for this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 questions that we need to answer. But it's not as bad as you think. So that's the listening done. Now, as for the speaking, what we have, I'll show you some pictures. There are 4 parts to the speaking. Okay. Now, in the speaking exam, the first part is where the examiner asks you some very simple questions like, what's your name? What do you do? What do you like about learning English? And maybe some slightly more bizarre questions like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Are you good at organizing your free time? Do you prefer to eat out or eat at home? And you need to answer those with some very, very good English, but they can't be such big, long answers because you don't have much time. Once you've done that, you'll be given something like this. It's like called the part 2. I can actually use this one here. Now, part 2, you get 2 pictures with 1 question, and you have 1 minute to speak on your own to sort of compare and contrast these pictures using some nice English. And we need to learn to be very creative and very imaginative when it comes to this, because you need to understand the very first strategy for this. There is no right answer. There's no right answer, just a relevant answer to that question. So you can lie as much as you want using good English. Great. So after you've done the part 2, your partner will also do this, because in the exam there's 2 of you, sometimes 3. And then once you've done that, you go to something like this, and this is the part 3. So you get like a kind of question in the center, and you get these sort of 5 points that you need to discuss in 2 minutes. The examiner stops you and asks you a concluding question. So in total it's about 3 minutes. And this is where you do work with your partner. You need to collaborate. You need to agree, disagree, discuss. And again, I'll teach you how to do that. Then the part 4 of the speaking is where you're asked some questions based on this theme. So this is about money. So the examiner might ask you or your partner, or make you answer together, do you think people are too concerned about money these days? Is money more important than happiness? And then you kind of answer these questions. You've done that, your speaking exam is over. Hurrah, go to the pub, drink, or whatever you want to do. I've talked about the writing. As I said, during the course, you are supposed to hand in your kind of essays. It's your choice if you want to do them or not. If you really want to get an A in the exam, I strongly suggest you do the essays. It's very, very important. Okay, now let's go down to, can a student take the exam after this course? The answer is sure, absolutely. If you have the time to do a lot of the videos, the online tasks, the essays, the speaking, in 6 months, you can easily be prepared. Easily, without a doubt. If, for example, you have lots of personal commitments. So personal commitments means you have a very intensive job, you have family to look after, you have to travel a lot on business. Those are your personal commitments. So maybe it's hard to dedicate as much time as you would like to the FCE, but that's why, for example, we give you permanent access so you can spend as much time as you would like to prepare. So can you take the exam after this course? Absolutely, but it depends on how much time you can invest into the practice. So it could be after 6 months, it could be after 9 months, it could take maybe 1 year. It's purely your choice. You do it when you feel ready. You have a look at the results that you get for your essays, for your online practice, and that will tell you after a couple of months where you are going, like the progress you are making. So guys, remember, we are here to help you along the way. I love teaching. Teaching is my passion. Teaching is my life. It's a really fun course to do. It's really interesting. We're so happy to have created this. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us. We will help you as much as we can. We will motivate you. You will feel when we do the speakings that there's like a family atmosphere, like a kind of family community where everyone helps each other, everyone makes friends, and I'm so happy that my school represents this sort of family unit kind of structure, and it just pleases me so much. So again, guys, welcome to the FCE. I wish you the best of luck, and well, time to start. Off we go.